Personally, I haven't seen a character in anime that's more controversial than Endeavor. Dude has a wildly troubled past. A past so troubled that some people were sending death threats to Horikoshi back when he was getting his redemption arc because they were mad he was getting screen time. But no matter how you felt about his character, this was never justifiable. But the fact that that happened does kind of feed into why he's such a controversial and interesting character. Most of the time, shonen series don't really give these redemption arcs the attention that they deserve. They just used to be evil, they do one good deed, and now they're just chilling with the good guys. But the world of My Hero is a lot more realistic, so Endeavor doesn't get off like that. He has to constantly fight to show that he has bettered himself and he still has everybody's best interest at heart, while simultaneously dealing with his past, constantly coming back and showing them yeah, you still did these terrible things, now answer for them. But I feel like once you understand Endeavor's character a lot more, his redemption arc not only makes a lot more sense, but you get to appreciate it a lot more too. Because a lot of people believe that Endeavor's backstory kind of starts with the whole Toya thing, but that's not true. It goes way back before that. All the way back to when he was just a student and he saw his father burned alive dead. And when you understand that this is what Endeavor sees can happen with fire from a very young age, the moment Endeavor learned that Toya was burning himself with his own flames, it was yeah, no, you're never going to be a hero now. Because for this dude that strives so much for power, you can kind of see why, because he lost his father to something that he probably could have controlled if he had knew how to use his power better and if he was on the scene sooner. Not saying this is exactly the reason why, but it could contribute to why he wanted to be the #1 hero so bad. What we can say though is that it definitely contributes to him not wanting Toya to be a hero after he sees that he's burning himself. But the issue with Toya is the fact that this dude is just as stubborn as Endeavor, and personally I think that has something to do with their quirks, because we long since knew that in the world of My Hero, quirks do influence your personality because they are physical parts of your body. Endeavor's a hothead dude with a hell flame quirk, and Dabi's flames are hotter than him, so he must be even more stubborn. Which is why neither of his parents can get him from going to Sokoto Peak and burning himself and coming home with new burns every day. Which prompts Endeavor to try to spend less time with Toya, because he's every time I'm around him, all he does is see me being a hero and he wants to be a hero even more. Meanwhile, I'm trying to get him to not be a hero, not even try to think that way, because he's burning himself alive. And people often do get on Endeavor about this because of his neglectful nature toward Toya. I'm just saying that it wasn't a clear-cut situation. He was if I'm with him, he just keeps going to burn himself and he feels emboldened to do so. At that point, the only way he could have fully convinced Toya to stop trying to be a hero was to stop being a hero himself. Which he probably should have done, but I'll get into that later. But Toya not wanting to give up is what leads Endeavor and Raid to make the decision of, you know what, we'll just have another kid and see if that kid can be the one to, be the hero. Because maybe if one of these kids becomes a hero, then he'll stop and he can just go live a normal life. Because clearly, for whatever reason, neither of us can control him. And while you could be yeah, these are bad parents because they can't control their child, keep in mind, even the Demon Lord himself couldn't do anything to control Dabi. So you know what, for that, I'm gonna give Ray and Endeavor a pass. It don't matter if this boy was Toya or Dabi, he was kind of tapped in the head. Endeavor did make that worse though, which led to Ray and Endeavor having more kids until they finally had Shoto, who could use both of their powers. But Toya, who is still not trying to listen to Endeavor tell him to have a normal life, tries to kill Shoto. And this is what leads to Endeavor making the decision to keep Shoto separated from the rest of his siblings. Because at the end of the day, he does want Toya to have a normal life. And if Toya is around his other siblings, maybe he can do just that. But Endeavor thinks in his mind, if I go around Toya, he's going to start thinking about hero stuff again and it's going to trigger all that back. So I'm just not going to see him. But the problem with this is that since Toya is seeing his other two siblings, that just means Endeavor won't be around these two either. And that ends up being the neglect that we see Natsu talking about later. And that's why Endeavor can't say anything about it, but you can also see it was a sticky situation for Endeavor. Because I think the only other possible thing he could have done and probably should have did was put, Toya into some type of mental asylum. But since that's what he did to his wife already, I'm pretty sure he did not want to do that to his son as well. Which is really crazy because I do think Toya really needed it. But again, Endeavor probably didn't see it because he's also really stubborn. And if he was less stubborn, he would have probably saw that he needs therapy too, because he's clearly not over whatever happened to his dad in the past. So it ends up all turning into one of those classic hurt people type of things. And it's just that along the way, Endeavor ends up seeing all the people that he hurt leading up to this point. Which leads him to try to have a relationship with his son, not only because he feels guilty about what happened to him in the past, but also because he sees now that he genuinely does love him. And for me, this is the moment where I started to really appreciate and be you know what? I could like Endeavor in the future. And I think the beautiful thing about him doing this is that Todoroki still gave him flack for it. And with every chance that he had, he made sure to let Endeavor know, like, hey, you new to doing this father stuff, so don't try to act like a father around my friends, all right? We chilling. He got the same type of relationship with Natsu. So it's one of those, like, I can appreciate Endeavor to see that, he wants to change, but if you still hated Endeavor, there are characters in the series that still don't like him for what he did too. And the beautiful thing about the story and the story writing from Horikoshi is that both are being highlighted because both are valid feelings. The whole point with the Todoroki family is that you do not have to forgive Endeavor, but you do have to acknowledge that he has changed. And at the end of the day, that's the best, and that honestly should be what we hope for everybody. I mean, after he got kidnapped by Ending and then he was saved by everybody, even Natsu was able to, I wouldn't say warm up to his dad, because he still was like, no, get off of me, I still don't like you. But you were at least able to see the remorse on his face, like, okay, I can now at least genuinely see that my father does care about me. So everything with Endeavor was starting to get better with his family, with his loved ones, until Dabi showed up in the picture. Dabi is essentially the entire past that he wasn't necessarily running from, but he was trying to make amends for. And Dabi's here to be like, oh no, I'm putting your past on full blast. Everybody's gonna know exactly what it is that you did. And then in the public eye, he has to face the repercussions of that, but it's just, Japan being a lawless society right now, nobody can really say anything. What, you're gonna have the number one hero step down even though you don't have any law and order right now? Come on, be for real. And after that, Endeavor wanted to be the dude to take down Toya. But this final war is kind of stacked, and it's if you're fighting Toya, who's fighting All For One? Nobody else but you. You the number one hero. Which means that our youngest son, who also happens to be a hero, has to be the one to fight him instead. So this really cool dichotomy of the oldest sibling who is the villain versus the youngest sibling who is the hero. And Toya's over here kind of still misreading the situation, because the first thing he thought when he saw Shoto was dang, even at the final days and this last war, dad still don't want to come and see me. Which is why after Dabi learns Shoto's new technique and can use it for himself, he has himself teleported right to where Endeavor was so that he can use this new move and take out Endeavor finally. And him taking Shoto's technique and applying it to himself to become so strong that even Shoto can't freeze him anymore, kind of shows that, he was always feeling inferior to Shoto because Shoto was the masterpiece. Meanwhile, you stronger than he is, dude. So at the end of the day, at least Dabi gets that moral victory. Not that he cares, he just wants to kill everybody. But since Shoto can't stop him alone with his ice, all of his siblings have to come in too and use their ice to help cool him down. And it was only after everybody working together were they finally able to bring down Toya and just kind of put him on ice. But while he's on ice, he's still yelling and cursing out his dad. And the sad thing about it is Endeavor's holding him while he's doing all this. Endeavor's yep, just say everything. Say everything you wanted to say to me. And then he finally tells him that he's sorry that he didn't go to Sokoto Peak. Once the war is over and everything kind of dies down a bit, then the Todoroki family gets together to go visit Dabi. Because he is still alive. Barely. Because he's encased in this giant, I don't know what to call it. You looking at it, use your own words and make up what you think this is. Incubator, vat, iron lung, whatever. But the doctor does let us know that he is actively dying and he will die one of these days. So Endeavor comes and lets him know I'm retiring as a hero. Look at me, I'm in a wheelchair. I lost an arm. You did a lot of damage to me. You got what you wanted in the end. You may have not exactly killed me, but the hero Endeavor, yeah, you killed that man. He out of here. But then it's after that Endeavor tells him that I'll come here every single day, from now until the day that you're projected to die, to talk with you. I realize that it's too late for me to be saying this, but let's talk. You can say how much you hate me. You can just cuss me out for 5 minutes a day if that's all you want to do, but I'll be here and we'll be talking. And I think this is the perfect way to round off Endeavor's character, because this is a very tragic story. And the most tragic thing about this thing for Toya specifically is you thought your whole family didn't care about you, but here they all are, and you're dang, even after everything I did, they are still here with me. And it's starting to hit him and make him think that that other life that he thought wasn't possible was possible. So the whole Todoroki story family line ends off with Shoto asking him hey, so what's your favorite food? And while everybody's walking away, he lets him know it's soba. Just for Todoroki to be same here, and then Dabi starts to shed some tears for the first time, because usually blood comes out. And then he says, Shoto, I'm sorry. And once you see that entire story for Endeavor, you can see the controversy that exists within him. And I think that makes him an amazing character. To do some heinous stuff, but then at the same time end up doing so much better. Hey, that's why this dude is Endeavor, and he's one of the best heroes in the show.